All right, all right, all right. We are live. We are live. We are live. What's poppin', everybody? Back again. We are doing just another live stream. We're diving in to any questions that you guys might potentially have. Tomorrow was a big day. Thursday was a big day. First big NFL game that we've had in a super long time. And we're looking at more games tomorrow. Like so many storylines. Patrick Mahomes without Tyreek Hill. What's Tyreek Hill going to look like for the Dolphins? Like a lot of questions are going to be answered for us tomorrow. Is Derrick Henry going to still be washed? Is he going to be back? All those great questions. But before we get into answering questions, engaging, because this is all on you guys and just engaging with you, let us hit that intro, because you know what we do here. We like to hit that intro. So hit that intro, Caleb. Ooh, Hurricane, my guy. Thanks for being here. What's up, my man? I'm on cloud nine with Gabe Davis and Henderson in my home league. Dude, I gotta say, first thing, we didn't since I started making this channel in July. Also, if there's background noise, let me know. I'm in my basement and there's some air conditioner or whatever, but trying out some new spots. But the thing that I think is really exciting for me about Gabe Davis, of course, he didn't get the target share that we were hoping for, but he produced. He was like that Mike Evans where got the touchdowns, got the long passes. And the thing is, I have a feeling that that's going to be open all season. Now, for those of us watching the game, of course, it was the lack of interest for Cam Akers and Allen Robinson if you drafted any of them. I have not drafted Cam Akers anywhere this offseason due to, even in dynasty leagues, I was trading him off. I remember back in February, right after Cam Akers had that massive game in this, not massive game, but he played in the Super Bowl, so of course showed that he could play. I remember I traded Cam Akers for Travis Etienne, which I'm really liking that looking into these coming weeks. But yeah, dude, I think getting Henderson, especially you probably got him as your RB3, RB4. I think that's massive, crazy value to be having Henderson there. And so, yeah, dude, that's going to be amazing. What round did you draft Gabe Davis in that league? But yeah, like I said, we are here answering all start and sit questions. So if you have any questions, we'll be happy to jump in, dive into those. I think it's just me and you, Hurricane, for right now. But if more people jump in, feel free to ask any questions. Yeah, so the efficiency as a deep threat is usually spotty as a general profile, but when Josh Allen is the QB, yeah. Now, when Josh Allen is QB, I feel like Chris Collinsworth, the whole game was just he was so amazed. I mean, he just said Josh Allen and his eyes lit up. It was his he was just in love with Josh Allen, which I understand. Josh Allen was looking absolutely elite. I still don't know. It was an amazing performance. Will he repeat as the QB1? There's a high probability that happens, but I haven't been able to just I couldn't draft him in the third. I could not draft him in the third this year. And so I don't have a ton of shares. I've been in a few dynasty leagues because I had him before the breakout really happened. So that's been a super nice profit that I've had. But no, I think it'll be interesting to see what happens the rest of this season. Especially with Stephon Diggs absolutely was cooking Jalen Ramsey. If Gabe Davis is open now, what's going to happen with Dawson Knox in that offense? I don't know. Zach Moss got a lot more run than I thought. Devin Singletary, even though he had one or two good drives, but he really didn't get the work. That whole backfield's interesting because I was really hoping that James Cook would step up and be that top end producer, but that didn't end up actually happening. So I don't know. But Hurricane, any interesting matchups that you have coming into this week? Anyone that you're trying to debate start and sit wise? Because I also, worst comes to worst, it's just me and you in here, and we will dive into. Also, I got a few teams too that I want some consensus on. Talk through some matchups. But the other thing, I know Rob, he's a big guy on our channel. He was talking about a little bit about the weather for tomorrow. I typically don't look at the weather to determine stuff. And here, I'll just jump into this, and then I know. Okay, so you said you got Gabe Davis round 6, or 6-9, and then Daryl Henderson. Oh, killer, man, killer. But looking at the weather, oh, now this is super not zoomed in. So let me zoom in a little bit for these. But these matchups tomorrow, pretty much, so the Bears in San Francisco is going to be a little bit rainy. So that's going to be something to, if you have any San Francisco players, I got a lot of Trey Lance. That'll be something to keep your eye on, especially if George Kittle is dealing with this hamstring injury that we potentially won't be playing, then that might be something to think about. They're probably not going to throw him out there if it's a wet, sloppy rain type of game, which means a lot more running too. So Elijah Mitchell, David Montgomery might be shooting up your boards, but they're probably going to be stacking the box. So will they actually perform? Those are all good questions. Then you got the Jacksonville Jaguars and Washington. That's going to be like projected for a little bit of rain. So yeah. Do you have a good replacement for Kittle? Yeah, I think some of these injuries are also a thing. Like I know there's not a lot, but also besides the point, if you do have Sammy Watkins, put him in your lineup because this will be the only week you will drop more than 25 points. Derek coming in here. Derek, appreciate you being here, my guy. Pick 2 full PPR: Penny, Pollard, Dylan Ayuk, Judy. Ooh, that's rough. Let me pull up the schedule right here before I answered. Yeah, Hurricane. I like that as an emergency. But Derek, let me get back to this. So we got Penny, Pollard, Dylan, Ayuk, Judy. And like I said, if you guys want to post who you would, if you guys have questions, like post it in, and we'll kind of like group think it. But first one off the top, even without looking at anything, I think I'm picking Dylan and Judy. Because you got the Packers. Who are the Packers playing? The Vikings. Yeah, I like that matchup a lot for Dylan, and then Judy. Who are the Broncos playing? The Seahawks. I do like that matchup for Judy. I do like Ayuk in the sense that if George Kittle doesn't play, that's going to be interesting. But I just think we don't know that for sure. So maybe Hurricane saying Ayuk and Judy. Yeah. I mean, I think the Ayuk thing, like if it's like a rain fest, like I just don't know if I can pull the trigger on Ayuk. Like that's the thing that I'm thinking. Yeah. So Derek, I think this is what Hurricane's pushing me to agree with him on this one. So I think I'm going to go with this. If George Kittle is out, we are picking Jerry Judy and Brandon Ayuk. If George Kittle is in, I think I'm doing Dylan and Judy. I'm still going with my original. So for sure, put Judy in. And then just you determine which one you want, whether you want to follow Hurricane or whether you want to follow me on this one. Hurricane, what are you thinking? If Kittle does play, are you picking would Dylan be your third choice for our man Derek? Because that's what I'm thinking. That's who I'm landing for. Because I got a few lineups where I'm I have George Kittle in a few places. I don't have a lot of Brandon Ayuk, and I wish I had a lot more, other than just like best ball stuff. So, Derek, you got any more starts, sits, questions? I know you had a few teams, I think, if I remember from our trade thing. My other league pick one. My other league pick one. Cooks, Hunt, Gibson, Ayuk in the flex. For sure, Brandon and Cooks for sure. I do like Kareem Hunt this week. I will say that. Like I have this one league. I was going to talk to you guys about it if we run out of questions for you guys. But yeah, Brandon Ayuk is like one of those guys that I don't have a lot of. But Kareem Hunt. Well, I said Brandon Ayuk, but what I was meaning to say is Kareem Hunt. I got him in a few different leagues, and I'm trying to determine if I play him. I mean, of course, Jacoby Brissett's starting. Nick Chubb is going to be playing, but Kareem Hunt always has that role. So interesting to see what that's going to look like this year. I'm kind of hesitant to play Kareem Hunt, knowing Baker's not there. It's because he was the check down king to Kareem Hunt, but Hurricane coming in saying Dylan is a floor play, but a solid one. Wide receiver in general more favorable in the flex, and the ambiguity surrounding Ayuk's role with Lance is intriguing. It is intriguing. No. Yeah, high upside shots with Brandon Ayuk. I think sometimes the hard thing, like I think Dylan is an interesting case because we don't, even if let's say he gets 50% of the work, but like what's that receiving work going to be like between him and Aaron Jones? Like that's kind of my thoughts when I was picking like Dylan over Ayuk, but I also wouldn't hate it. Like I might just agree with you on this one and put both those guys, those wide receivers in there for the high play. So Derek, like I said, I was kind of playing a little bit mix of like the upside with a little bit more of the safety with AJ Dillon, but if you're feeling risky and frisky, maybe just throw Judy and Ayuk in there and we'll see. Like we said, some of these are so close, like it's hard to, like I can give my opinion, but at the end of the day, you're the one having to put them in your lineup. So maybe I convinced you, maybe I didn't. Derek coming in. If Michael Thomas does play, do I play him? I'm playing Michael Thomas if he plays. Granted, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 times, shame on me. And I've been fooled twice. So I am going. So I'm rolling with Michael Thomas and Hurricane. I think you were referring to since it's a little bit delayed, but referring to Jerry Judy and Brandon, go big or go home. Same thing is being applied here to Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, when he is out on the field, playing at full strength, wide receiver 1. We just saw what Cooper Kupp did on Thursday night. Michael Thomas did that 2 years ago. We just haven't seen it. We just haven't seen it. And so that scares me because we could say the same thing like about DeAndre Hopkins or someone else that hasn't really produced up to that like wide receiver one level recently. But there's just something about it that just screams like Michael Thomas is going to be solid this year if he can get on the field. And that's a big, big if. But like we said, we shoot for upside here. Week 1. Worst comes to worst, Michael Thomas flops on you, Derek. And we reevaluate next week and we say Michael Thomas is not sniffing our lineup until he performs. And the good news is you probably got him in the 6th or 7th round. So he might be your wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3, or like your flex. And so you might not have to play him. And so if you're in the not have to play him, like I would understand if you maybe you have a better option, but typically like most people aren't having a better option. So just put him out there. I think on Sleepers projected like 13 points for tomorrow. I think that's pretty fair. I imagine he gets probably, if he plays at full strength, I bet he gets 15 or 16 points. And we all are like, wow, great value we got at Michael Thomas. But like I said, the Boston Strangler up in the chat, my guy. First off, appreciate you being here so much. If you haven't already, like and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to hit like 100 subscribers by the end of next week. So you would greatly help me out as a channel. I just started this channel back in like July. So we're trying to grind on the fantasy football content, help you guys win your fantasy football leagues. I say help you guys, meaning like I'm the one making the content. So I'd appreciate it so much if you help me out. But you said Thomas or Amon-Ra full point PPR. I'm doing Michael Thomas. But I did have Amon-Ra on a lot of my teams last year, so it did feel good when it happened. Now I know some people are going to disagree with me, but like I think the upside is higher with Michael Thomas compared to Amon-Ra. So I'm taking Michael Thomas. But if you want to feel safer, like I wouldn't hate you because like a lot of the times Amon-Ra St. Brown and Michael Thomas were being drafted right there in like the 6th round right together. So like the values are very similar and people think they have a lot of the same upside. I'm just taking Michael Thomas this week. Derek said he got Michael Thomas in the 5th. Totally. Shout out to me for hedging all but one of my Acres Dynasty years with Henderson. Yes. Smart move, Hurricane. Daryl Henderson. You know what? You were really what you were doing is you were hedging all of your Henderson shares by getting Acres is really what you were doing. And Hurricane's going to disagree with me again. Loyal supporter of the show, Hurricane. He is here even though he disagrees with all my takes. I'm just kidding, Hurricane. I really like having you here. He says Amon-Ra, the Boston Strangler. So he says the breakout continues. Listen, I in one of my redraft leagues, Amon-Ra St. Brown went in the 4th round. I thought that was crazy talk. But if all of a sudden Amon-Ra continues on this 20-point a game pace that he was on last year at the end of the season for like the last 4 or 5 games, all of a sudden we're going to be looking and be like, man, he was such a value. And I don't have any shares of him because I basing him off of the fact that TJ Hawkinson, DeAndre Swift's back. They drafted Jameson Williams, who probably won't be back until like week 8, but they still have DJ Chark. Like there's a lot more competition for targets, but the thing is he earned those targets last year, even though maybe there wasn't the competition around him. He still earned those targets. Like you have to earn targets as a wide receiver. You have to be good enough to get open, to separate, to get those targets. So I guess we're going to see. So Derek, or the Boston Strangler, let me know right now, after hearing me talk about both of these players, who are you leaning towards starting? Are you going to start Michael Thomas or are you going to start Amon-Ra? I want to hear it right now. But I appreciate you guys all being here. Like I said, I got a lot of teams too. So if we ever want to dive into some of my, I want to hear from you guys too, because you guys all know your stuff. Like that's why you're following this channel and participating in everything like that. Hurricane says, just saying the play call that oversaw is 20 point per game stress is now the offensive winner. Yeah. Like there's so many pluses. Like I'm not disagreeing with you, Hurricane, at all. I just think, it's hard. It's hard for me to get fully behind him on St. Brown. And I think it might be the draft capital. Like I said, I play a lot of Dynasty. So it might just be the fact that I don't actually, do I think it was a fluke? I don't think it's a fluke. Like I think he's a good player. I just like, are we talking about him in like the Tyler Boyd category? Or are we going to elevate him up into like an elite level, like an elite level? I don't know. Those are all the questions. We're popping up with questions. So like I said, if you are new here to the stream, I will get to your question here. I'm just going to right down the line. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. It helps me out so much. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. We're doing these type of start sits, doing lives like all through the week. Really look up to like people like the Fantasy Flock Network, Ron Stewart, the Fantasy Stock Exchange. So trying to emulate a little bit about what they do. Been playing fantasy football since 2007. So hopefully some of my takes help you win your fantasy football leagues. And if they don't come back to my channel and like don't leave me a bad review, you know? So we got the Boston Strangler. Will Christian Kirk be a PPR starter after a 30% target share during the preseason? No, I'm off Christian Kirk. Like, my thing is this: if Christian Kirk cannot dominate one-on-one targets or one-on-one coverage when he was across from DeAndre Hopkins and Zackertz, there's no reason to think that all of a sudden he goes to a worse situation in Jacksonville. Granted, he did get paid. So, like, they're probably going to force feed him targets. So, like, that would be an argument that I would totally hear from you. I don't value anyway. I really don't take any account into the preseason, the Boston Strangler, only because of this. You look at like last year, who were like people that were killing it in the preseason. Marquez Callaway looked like friggin' Randy Moss in the preseason and then poops the bed like the whole season. And so like those are the type of things that I consider like do I think it's positive? Do I think it's positive that we saw Christian Kirk getting the targets from Trevor Lawrence? Like, yes, because Trevor Lawrence really relied on Marvin Jones for most of last season. So I do think that is positive. I just like this week, I think I have Christian Kirk like in my wide receivers. I have him as like my wide receiver 32 this week. So, okay, cool. Like maybe he would be your flex play. Like maybe he is your flex play and like that's totally fine. But I think you're probably going to have maybe an RB3 or you're going to have another wide receiver because Christian Kirk, typically we're drafting him as your like wide receiver 4. So I would assume, especially this week with not a lot of injuries yet happening, that you would probably be leaning not playing Christian Kirk this week. But I know you're more talking about like what's my opinion. So I guess all to be determined. And you're leaning towards Thomas. I know if you're just tuning in, the Boston Strangler asked about Michael Thomas versus Amon-Ra St. Brown. So that was kind of our discussion. Hurricane coming in saying Kirk is a solid play. He'll likely be closer to 22 to 24%. No. That's what I'm saying. And the thing is, that is well enough. Like that is good enough to dominate, like to be a flex play, like a high upside flex play. It's just a matter of will that actually happen? But yeah, I appreciate everyone for tuning in. Like I said so much, we're trying to grow this channel. So if you haven't already liked and subscribed on the stream, helps me out a ton. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of next week. So we're at like 86 right now, 14 more. So if a few of you are new here to the channel, I'm putting out content, trying to put out content like every day. It's been more like every other day. So appreciate you guys being flexible with me as we try to win our leagues. Drew coming in, pick 2, half PPR, Cooks, Ayuk, CEH. Ooh, CEH is, we're off CEH. And we kind of just went over this. I'm taking Cooks, but I do think if Kittle does not play tomorrow, there could be a better argument that Brandon Ayuk would be a lot better of a value. But we were also talking about the fact that it is supposed to be raining pretty heavily for the Chicago-San Francisco game tomorrow. So another thing to take into consideration, I really feel like with Kittle's injury, if it is raining, the San Francisco 49ers know what's happening with Kittle. Like he gets injured every season and plays through it. He's a monster. We all know that. So I think I would, if Kittle's out, it's closer. But I think even if Kittle's out and you're talking Brandon Ayuk, Brandon Cooks, I'm still taking Brandon Cooks for sure. But thanks so much for being here, Drew. Appreciate you being here. Let me know if you have any more questions. Start sits, like I said. Most of us play in multiple leagues, so we're here to help you make those hard decisions. Adam Weber says, Cole Kmet hype train coming in. Chew. Cole Kmet, there's a lot to like about Cole Kmet as a whole. He was like my target, like if you were listening to me in any of my live streams earlier, before in the preseason, like Cole Kmet was my perfect late round, like 10th round tight end. And I have a lot of places. So if Cole Kmet fails on me, I'm going to be losing quite a bit of money and losing in a lot of bit of my leagues. But that's not going to happen because he's the tight end 2, or he's the wide receiver, essentially wide receiver 2 on the Chicago Bears scheme. So he's got his boy Justin Fields throwing in the ball. What can go wrong? Adam come back in saying, I'm starting Kmet over Kittle this week. You know what? I don't think that as crazy as what it might seem. Like I said, it's supposed to be raining for this game. So I am nervous I would say for both, just due to like what if the field is looking real sloppy and, sliding and it becomes like a run heavy game. I totally understand. But yeah, if he gets probably where he's going to get somewhere around 8 to 10 targets, like that's going to pay off for you in your league. Hurricane comes back and saying Kmet in a tight end premium league is money. Yeah, no. And even if it's not a tight end premium league, like maybe Kmet takes that next step. Like, and we don't need Kmet to join the Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts tier. Like we don't even need him to join like the Dalton Schultz. Like if Cole Kmet could literally just be TJ Hawkinson, which isn't that hard to do, like we're all going to profit based on where we drafted him and where you were able to take in the 7th, 8th, 9th round, other positions, and then grab Cole Kmet in the 10th. Like it's really going to help us out. But yeah, facts. Oh, Adam, let me just keep preaching to you, bro. Let me just keep preaching. Drew, I think that was maybe about the preseason hype. Callaway was also not getting paid Kirk money though. Drew, you bring up a very valid point. And I wasn't trying to say that Callaway and Christian Kirk were the same talent. Let's be clear. Like Christian Kirk very much so got paid the money because somehow the Jacksonville Jaguars saw that he had the talent and he could get paid the money. I think the thing that I have to remember about it though is like the same thing could be said about Kenny Golladay getting paid the huge money by the New York Giants. I feel like a lot of these times, and especially in free agency, these teams like overpay in free agency just because they don't know the market. So like they kind of like think, okay, this is what's going to happen because there's so many wide receivers. Like we need to just get our values. And I just think like Christian Kirk was so easily to be able to jump on that because my thing is with the money they paid Christian Kirk, like they could have signed like Juju and like a few other wide receivers and like had the same, like even more depth. And arguably I would have said they would probably gotten the same production. Now I'm not saying Juju is the same talent as Christian Kirk. Like hear me out. I'm not saying that. I was just saying like, if we're talking like, like how we do in dynasty trades, like when your friend sends you like 3 pennies for a nickel, like you usually say no, but sometimes in football, when these equal the same, like the depth of these 3 pieces would really help your overall team. Boston Strangler coming back in here says, will Romeo Doubs finish the season as the Green Bay #1 wide receiver? You guys are asking the hard hitting questions this week. And I know I'm starting to fall behind a little bit. So I will try to answer all of these. Appreciate you guys all being here. Like I said, if you haven't already subscribe right now. Helps me out a ton. Well, Romeo Dobbs. I think Dobbs. Rob, if he's here, always corrects me on how to pronounce his last name. No, he is not going to finish the season as a Green Bay #1 wide receiver. And I think he's going to be very solid. Like, don't get me wrong. I just think we're overhyping him. Same kind of stuff that's happened with Marquez Callaway last offseason. And there's some other very talented wide receivers around him, like Christian Watson. We really haven't seen Christian Watson, but they drafted Christian Watson in the 2nd round. Like Alan Lazard, another, even though we don't necessarily think he's as talented as some of these, maybe not as talented, or, he wasn't able to prove, like he's not Devontae Adams, like we all know that, but I think he's been in the system. I think they're going to involve Robert Tunyon a lot. I just think it's going to be a committee. It's just like the Green Bay situation is very similar to how the Kansas City situation is, besides like Kansas City has Travis Kelce. So that's like the only difference. But yeah, I would say no. That would be my bold prediction would be no. But I would not be surprised if it does happen though. The Boston Strangler. Yes, Hurricane Aaron Jones is the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. And I think A.J. Dillon might be the running back 1 in Green Bay. And but both of them will be very solid fantasy football options. But Aaron Jones will probably end up finishing top 5, top 8, somewhere in there this season, like he typically always does. Unless Christian Watson outright takes Lazard's job. Yes. And that's where I would see it. Like I just, some of these comments that Aaron Rodgers has been making lately. Also, if anyone did not see the tweet, oh my gosh, I should probably pull it up, but I don't have it right now, of him getting off the bus, his new haircut. I got a new haircut, so I don't know if you guys even noticed. Like no one called it out. Like feeling a little bit, disrespected here. I was looking very scraggly here recently, but yeah, not looking quite as good as Aaron Rodgers though. He was looking like he was walking out. He had the hair flow. He was coming back for his MVP. Boston Strangler, Hurricane, Rodgers likes Dubs. Oh, you guys are just talking with each other. Appreciate you guys communicating. Like we said, we're trying to build this community. So like I said, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Hit it right now. Right now. We got Winston or Prescott this week. Let us go back to the NFL schedule because I want to give you a good representation. Let's zoom in on this. So we got, I don't even know if that's even enough for you guys. So we got who's playing who. So we got the Cowboys are playing, is it Tampa Bay? Is that who they're playing? Yeah. Cowboys are playing Tampa Bay at tomorrow night at 8:20. And then we have Winston. Who are the Saints playing? The Falcons. Oh, I'm leaning Winston. Just because of the weapons. But you know what? Now I say it, I think I'm going to take Prescott. I think the upside play would be to take Winston, but I think the safer play with upside, because they're going to probably be in a high-scoring game, would be the Cowboys and Tampa Bay. Didn't they play each other week 1 last week or last season when Amari Cooper went off? That's kind of crazy. that they play each other week 1 and back-to-back weeks. Hurricane says he likes everything and everyone now that he took them psychedelics. Yes, that is true. Aaron Rodgers will throw the ball each and every way, and based on his relationship status with, I forget what even his girlfriend's name is. He's just an interesting man now. He has become a new man at the age of like 38. Hurricane, he did some positive things about Watson. Yeah, that's what I was saying about Christian Watson on the Matt McAfee show. Also, super cool to see Pat McAfee on College Game Day. That's pretty amazing. Bring some rejuvenation to that show. But yeah, I do like me some Christian Watson this year, especially if you got him late. The Boston Strangler, Dalton Schultz finishes top 2 tight end as Dak Prescott's number 2 target. That's bold. I have Dalton Schultz as number 4 in my tight end rankings. I have, Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, Kyle Pitts, and then Dalton Schultz. So I have Dalton Schultz right behind those guys. I think it's close. I think it is really close. But I'm not. Yeah. Hurricane, doubtful. I don't think I'm bold enough to be like, oh, he's gonna finish in there. To like, Mark Andrews is the clear number 1 target. So is Travis Kelce, and so is Kyle Pitts. So I'm taking those guys over Dalton Schultz. Has Pollard move up to flex as talk of using him as a passer while Elliott's on board? I think it's definitely encouraging. Until we see it in a game, that is where I base it. I mean, they're paying Ezekiel Elliott so much money that they're still going to be running the ball with Zeke. And I think this is the other thing. Like, Zeke at this point in his career, okay, we all know he's not going to finish as like the RB1 on a points per game basis anymore. But every season he does finish as an RB1 because he is fairly durable. Now I know he's up at the age of what is he 26, like almost 27? Is he 27 now? He's past that RB like age cliff. So I imagine it starts to go downhill pretty fast here. But this year I'm fairly confident because especially we're pretty much getting him in the 3rd round, 4th round. When I really think the production's not going to be that much different than last year. So I think it is really good value. And yeah, I'm cool with Tony Pollard. I think they're probably going to have to use him more, which is exciting because he has that big play potential. But flex for week 1, I think I might wait until more injuries occur. Because if we're talking like Tony Pollard versus like a Hollywood Brown or something like that, like I'm always going to lean with that receiver. But sometimes I know I didn't lean with that receiver when we were talking about AJ Dillon earlier, but that was a different case. Yeah, like pass catcher. Yeah, no, I'm full on Zeke this year. So Tony Pollard, we'll see. I think if Tony Pollard was the RB1 on like another offense, like we'd be talking like a top 15 running back for sure. In fantasy, maybe in top 12. Boston Strangler, dude, I so much appreciate you being here, my guy. Thanks so much for asking all these questions and for being here. So if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe because I want you in all my lives. Comes in saying Julio Jones over under 700 yards and 8 touchdowns. First off, Julio Jones 8 touchdowns I think is like impossible because even when he was playing 12 to 14 games, he still only was scoring 4 or 5 touchdowns. So if he scores 8 touchdowns this year, I'm going to be shook, especially with competing with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. But I will say the 700 yards is definitely doable. I don't think there's anything to say that he can't hit 700 yards. It's just going to be a matter of how many games is he actually going to play and how fresh, like if the Tampa Bay Buccaneers start to do very well, like let's say they are very much so in playoff contention, which there's no reason to think that they won't be other than their offensive line is kind of questionable right now. Who's not to say that by the end of the season, they start to get Julio Jones ready for the playoffs, meaning we all know he deals with hamstring injuries. He's 34 years old. Like eventually the wheels are going to fall off. They're kind of already falling off. So like, let's limit that. So I think that's not crazy, but I guess we'll kind of see from there. Like I said, I appreciate everyone jumping into the live stream. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. I keep saying we, but I am trying to get to 100 subscribers by the end of next week. So if you guys would all participate in helping me and becoming part of the channel, because we're trying to do these lives like all the time, like 3 to 4 times a week to help you guys win your fantasy football leagues and just have good discussion. Fabian, if I totally botched your name, I'm so sorry about that, my guy. Mike Giseki or Hunter Henry? Giseki for sure. I said that very confidently. Both of these guys are not probably going to get volume of targets, so you're basing off who's going to catch a touchdown. Maybe I might lead Hunter Henry. I wish Hurricane would throw, or you guys might throw your advice in here to Fabian. I think I'm leaning Giseki for sure. For this week. Because we got the Dolphins are playing the Patriots. Oh, they're playing each other. Yeah, I'm leaning Giseki. Yeah. No. Brady is definitely different than Tannehill. Yeah, I think Julio will be used more as a no. And if Julio is a tight end, like, I mean, he's looking a lot more built. Like, there's no reason to think that Julio Jones can't perform. And if they're saying that he's close to what an elite Julio, like, to be completely fair, even if you have some type of route running ability and good hands, like Tom Brady will make it look good. So I'm excited for Julio Jones. And most likely you drafted him super late or you picked him up on waivers when all the news dropped that he was signing in Tampa Bay in your dynasty leagues. But for redraft leagues, what you would probably draft him in the 10th or 11th round, and he's your wide receiver 4, wide receiver 5. Like, great value there for Julio Jones. CL Sports Cards, my guy. Or I guess I do not know if you're a guy, so I apologize if that. But listen, appreciate you being here, guy. I appreciate everyone for tuning in here tonight as we're having some fun. Trying to get our lineups ready for tomorrow. Super excited. Should I start Miles Sanders or Rashard Penny for my RB2? Miles Sanders said not to start him, or said not to play him in fantasy football this year because you're probably going to be disappointed. So you got Miles Sanders and the Eagles are playing the Lions, and then you have Rashard Penny and the Seahawks are playing the Broncos. You know what? Oh, man, that's hard. I think I'm leaning the only reason I'm going to say Rashard Penny, the Broncos, based on Fantasy Pros, projections this week, the Broncos are somewhere around the second or third defense. So we don't expect a high flying game out of the Seahawks, but I'm just worried about the touches that Miles Sanders is going to get. And we're just going to be relying purely on a touchdown from Miles Sanders to help you in that RB2 spot. I think Rashard Penny will get the volume because we don't know what the work's going to look like for Kenneth Walker. I don't even think is he even playing this week? I guess I didn't even double check that before I said that. But that would be my thoughts. If Kenneth Walker's not playing, for sure, Rashard Penny. It's a little bit closer if Kenneth Walker's playing, but still leaning that way. Appreciate you being here, my guy. Kamal, appreciate you being here. Brandon Cooks or Adam Thielen flex? Oh, I know we got a lot of Adam Thielen lovers here in the chat. So I know a lot of them are going to lean Adam Thielen. We got Vikings versus Packers. I'm excited to see what this new bringing over the Rams offensive kind of playbook is going to look like for the Vikings with Matt O'Connell. But Brandon Cooks, the Houston Texans, they're playing the Colts. Man, that's hard because, Brandon Cooks is the typical kind of guy, gets all those late garbage points, man. Gets all those late garbage points. And it just makes you think what's happening with that. So I'm going to lean Brandon Cooks. But it wouldn't surprise me if Adam Thielen comes out and puts up a top 14 week this week just due to catching a touchdown. And maybe I'm playing it safe by saying Brandon Cooks, even though I could see where Adam Thielen might have a little bit more upside. But I think the floor is way higher for Brandon Cooks because we do know the targets that he's going to get. I totally understood what you meant, the Boston Strangler. Appreciate you being here, guy. We got Hurricane. Healthy Julio is a must-start flex play. The question is he healthy? And what is this hamstring looking like at this age? Those are the questions I have. And I need to see it to believe it. But most likely, you're feeling bold. You're feeling same reason I'm thinking Michael Thomas is coming back tomorrow looking like old. You're thinking if Julio Jones just looks old with Brady, yeah, don't count Tannehill. Yeah, I understand that. But I also don't count, last year really doesn't, to me, his lack of play shows how injured he's been. Last year with the Falcons, last year with the Titans, I think that's some of my concern. Hurricane's taking Thielen. I knew that's when I made that take, Hurricane. I didn't even see your comment yet, and I already knew you were going to say Thielen. But I'm going Cooks. We are disagreeing here tonight. We are disagreeing. But whatever you decide to do. Appreciate you being here. If you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. We're trying to grow this channel. And I say we, meaning all of you, because we're at 86 subscribers right now. 2 more, we're at 88. So hit that subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. Giseki is the floor guy. Henry's the ceiling tight end play. And you know what? I actually disagree with this. I think Hunter Henry might be the safer play. Because if Giseki goes off. You're talking about, 6 catches, 60 yards and a touchdown. Compared to Hunter Henry, you're probably talking 3 catches, 30 yards and a touchdown. I think that's the difference for me between Giseki and Hunter Henry. Ooh, I need a flex. Chubb, Sutton, or Ayuk. Okay. Ooh, Reese. This an 8-man league, my man? How is Nick Chubb a flex play? Ooh, I'm just kidding. I'm just giving you a hard time, Reese. Hurricane's in here commenting all of his thing. And yeah, I think at PPR, I'd probably lean in Sutton, but Nick Chubb's going to get all the work. So I'm leaning Nick Chubb. Let's see. So you said PPR, yes. See, I knew Hurricane was going to say Sutton. I knew he was going to say Sutton. I'm going to go Chubb. Purely based on Chubb's probably going to get somewhere around 15 to 18 points. Sutton might get 22, 24 points. But I think it's a lot safer Nick Chubb's points, barring that he doesn't get injured. And I know he's going to be the focal point, and I know the Browns are going to run the ball. So those are my thoughts around that. Reese, appreciate you being here. Subscribe, my guy. Subscribe. Helps me out a lot. We're also going live tomorrow. So if you guys want to come back tomorrow morning, we're going live. I think we're going to be going live somewhere probably around noon to get all these, answer any last minute start sit questions. So appreciate you guys being here. Hurricane, we're going to fight. Someday we're going to meet in person and we're going to record a fight for this YouTube channel. I'm just kidding. Not actually fight. I appreciate you being here. But we always argue on these players. Should Brian Robertson Jr. be on your team if he wasn't drafted, put on IR, and held as a week 5 stash trade value? I don't know. Are we sure that Brian Robinson, let's say, and I know this is another bold take, if Antonio Gibson comes out tomorrow, gets all the touches, and actually performs to what we think is going to happen with him, then are we sure that he's going to, Brian Robinson's going to come back after getting shot in the knee and be able to just become what we thought he was going to be coming in the season? I don't know. And I'm confident enough to say that I think Antonio Gibson's talented enough that once he gets this job back, he's not giving it back. So I'm going to say no. But if you can put him on your IR, if you can pick him up and put him on your IR, for sure, do that and just wait on it and see what happens. But I mean, by week 5, you're going to be in a dire circumstance if you were just stashing him at the bottom of your bench. So those are some of my thoughts about that. The Boston Strangler. Chris, appreciate you being here, my guy. Tony Pollard or Melvin Gordon, PPR. Woo, we are back. So we got Seahawks versus the Broncos. So it's probably going to be a Broncos Broncos, let's ride. One of those type of games, the let's ride type game. And then you have the Cowboys versus I think I'm leaning Melvin Gordon just because I think they're going to get more carries. And we're not even confident that I'm pretty confident, but I say we as a fantasy football community are not even confident that Javonte Williams and the Melvin Gordon splits are going to be any more than 60-40. And I still think I'm going to take the late garbage time that Melvin Gordon's probably going to get. Oh, Hurricane, why are we arguing about this? I guess Pollard is the upside play. So, Chris, Pollard is the upside play. Melvin Gordon is the floor play. So however you want to evaluate that, I just think Melvin Gordon might get some extra touches in the second half. So that's where I'm leaning Melvin Gordon. But maybe Tony Pollard surprises us and is just touching the ball all the time because CeeDee Lamb might underperform. Dalton Schultz, they're covering those guys. So someone else has to step up other than Zeke. So maybe it is Tony Pollard. The Boston Strangler, who will be the Raiders starting running back by the end of the year? I still think Josh Jacobs. But I think if Josh Jacobs to get hurt, Zamir White's a very talented running back. But we also have to remember the draft capital does play a big role. They drafted Zamir White in the 4th round. So it's not like they invested a ton. I would not be surprised. I easily have the Raiders as someone that will be drafting a running back in next year's class, which will be freaking amazing. So if you play in a lot of dynasty leagues, we are excited about that 2023 class. But yeah, I still think it's Josh Jacobs. Hurricane's an upside guy. What can you say? You know what, Hurricane? I want to see if once you start investing in stocks, or if you invest in stocks, that portfolio is probably looking real upside. Because the thing is, you lose on a few, but when those home runs hit, more touchdowns. Boston Strangler, my guy. First off, I like your YouTube name. Second off, appreciate you being here. More touchdowns, Keenan Allen or Mike Williams? Mike Williams, for sure. Easy. I think this might be the year that Mike Williams takes that next step and actually becomes the true wide receiver 1 alpha for the Chargers. But I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I just think it is. Just based on the way that last year ended, and Keenan Allen's getting up there in age. He's about 30. He's going to turn 31 this year. not saying like these football players are playing a lot longer than what they have in the past. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald played until the age of 34. So, like, if you're an elite level wide receiver, you can do it. But, like, how elite do we actually think Keenan Allen is? And I think that's the type of argument you have to have with yourself when you're debating this. So that's why I'm leaning Mike Williams. DW Doy. I don't even know how to pronounce your YouTube name, but appreciate you being here. Like I said, subscribe. If you like this advice, before I give it to you, subscribe to the channel. So then afterwards, if you don't, like, just forget about it and, never have to come back here again. But I would like to see you tomorrow when we're going live again, because we want you a part. I want you a part of my community, Elijah Moore, Darnell Mooney this week, PPR. Oh, I'm an Elijah Moore guy. I'm an Elijah Moore guy for sure. That connection with Joe Flacco. Oh, and that might upset some people because there's a lot of people that are on both sides of the fence when we're talking about Darnell Mooney. We're talking about Elijah Moore, because you have Elijah Moore and the Jets are playing the Ravens. And then you have the Bears. Who did we say they were playing? Versus the 49ers. Yeah, for sure. I'm leaning Elijah Moore, even though you're going to say Joe Flacco is worse than Justin Fields, but, like, how worse are we actually talking? Hurricane. We finally agreed. Yeah. Totally. Williams and Elijah Moore. I like that. Reese. I have Javonte Williams and CNC for running backs and Hollywood and AJ Brown. Should I sit Hollywood and play Sutton? No. Play Hollywood. We're talking about a guy who, if Zackertz does not play, we're looking at a man, and Rondell Moore's out. We're talking about someone that could get somewhere between 10 to 15 targets tomorrow. You're rolling with that upside. Exactly what Hurricane talks about earlier. Hollywood over Sutton for sure. I like Sutton. I do like Sutton quite a lot this year, but I'm taking Hollywood. Hurricane. My God, you're answering everyone's question before I can even get to it, but we're agreeing. So I appreciate that. Joshua coming in. Joshua, appreciate you being here. Subscribe to the channel, for me. I have Devontae at wide receiver 1 and Waller at tight end. Do I flex Jacobs through Raiders, or do I put in Brandon Cooks? It's going to be a high-scoring game tomorrow between the Raiders and the Chargers. It's in a dome. So we're talking about Brandon Cooks versus Josh Jacobs. I think I lean with Hurricane. Joshua, is it PPR? If it's PPR, we're rolling with Brandon Cooks. If it's standard, we're rolling with Josh Jacobs. That's my answer. Hurricane, hopefully we're answering everyone's questions well, Maybe sometime I have to have you half. Oh, it's half. It's half. Hurricane, it's half PPR. He said regardless. Oh, I think I'm still leaning. I'm easily leaning. Do Brandon Cooks. Just do Brandon Cooks and don't look back. Like, we're confident in Brandon Cooks. The Boston Strangler is out here asking question after question because he is just an amazing guy to be here in the chat, supporting the channel. We just hit 90 subscribers, so appreciate you guys so much for being here. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button because y'all are freaking amazing. Romander, Stevenson, or Damien Harris. I already see that Hurricane saying Romander, but, like, I'm going to say Romander. Damien Harris looked great last year, but I don't think he looked great last year because he was freaking falling in the end zone all the time. But we're leaning Romander on this channel. We are a Romander stand over Damien Harris, taking that stance on a lot of live streams, so we're continuing with it. We're not backing down at all. Coming back in, the Boston Strangler, what is Debo's ceiling with a running QB in San Francisco? Possibly fantasy bust. I wouldn't say bust because the way that they used Deebo Samuel was a little bit different than what, a typical wide receiver would do, where they're doing end arounds, where sometimes he runs up in the backfield. I think that's a little harsh. I think the only thing that could stop Deebo Samuel this year is himself and the ankles and knees. And I think Hurricane, he still has a high ceiling. What did Hurricane say? He only busts due to injury. Yes. If the injury is like the only thing, I'm actually concerned about with Deebo Samuel for this year. And typically when we're drafting, so, like, when I even talked about, like, we're drafting CMC, we're drafting Saquon, like, we shoot for upside on this channel, which is kind of funny because Hurricane and I have been arguing about upside on some of these players. But generally when we have been doing our drafts, we shoot for upside. Like, we don't care about past injuries. We don't care about none of that. But Deebo Samuel is one of those like where you do have to kind of take that into account that has happened before. He just got his big payday, so we're just hoping that maybe that workload, those injuries are in the past. But we do have to consider that. And I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all about Trey Lance. I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised because like Deebo Samuel, really, when you think about the way that he controlled, like where he was getting his fantasy points, it was a lot of touches around the line of scrimmage, those short slants, getting him the ball in the flat where he has a speed where he can use his playmaking ability. But just imagine if Deebo Samuel had a quarterback that could throw it to him a little bit deeper. Like if his ADOT just increased slightly, like the amount of more fantasy points that he would be able to get, which typically when you have like an amazing season like he just had, even if he regresses slightly from a volume perspective, like it's not going to matter if he's getting more yards on the ADOT spectrum. So those are some of my thoughts. We'll see what happens this year. I didn't draft a ton of Deebo because he was going a little bit early in the second round. And there were some players that I liked a little bit better on like the running back range that I was typically taking over Deebo. Yeah, Deebo has missed games in every season he's played since his junior year of high school. Yeah. Well, when you play at such a like how ferocious he plays, like when he plays like a linebacker, you're bound to get hurt, when you're running as hard as he does. You know what? The Boston Strangler, dude, I need to have you write questions for YouTube videos because you are asking amazing questions here. Will Connor finish the season in Arizona? And if not, who's the backup to Stats? Like, do you think he's going to get traded? Because I don't think he's going to get traded. But do I think he's going to have the season that he had last season? Oh, no, not at all. Last season was predicatedly based on his touchdown efficiency. Like, if he doesn't score, what was it, 18 touchdowns? If he doesn't have that, he's not the fantasy football star that we all hoped and dreamed that he would be when he joined Arizona. Now, there's reports out of camp, Benjamin. They did sign Daryl Williams, the Lone Star running back who overtook CEH in Kansas City. I think I really want to say Daryl Williams. I'm confident, even though I know he's listed as the RB3. Like I'm pretty sure if Daryl Williams gets a chance, he's going to show people like what he did last year. But I think for now, like if you had to pick a stash, like it'd probably be Benjamin. But I don't feel confident in that. And hopefully James Conner just produces and we don't have to worry about that because a lot of people drafted him in the third, which could be good value. Oh, you mean like if he got hurt? Yeah. No. I don't typically, even too, when he's gotten hurt before, there hasn't been a lot of like season. I think he's only had one season ending injury. Yes. You know what, Hurricane? I'm glad we both agree on. I said but I gave a really good point about Daryl Williams. So I hope you know that I have Daryl Williams on a lot of dynasty teams. Yeah, that massive game against Kansas City and Las Vegas where he caught that pass. Oh, just like mossed a guy in the end zone to get it was so beautiful. Was so freaking beautiful. But yeah, like I said, here to answer all of your guys' questions. So let me know if I can answer any more for you guys. Otherwise, we will just regroup tomorrow and we will live stream around 12 to get any questions answered for you as we head into our amazing week 1. But like I said, I'm still sticking on. You guys got questions? I'm here. And Boston Strangler comes in asking all the amazing questions. Higher upside, Dobbins or Mitchell in full PPR? For this week? Oh, for sure, Elijah Mitchell. You talking on the season? I think J.K. Dobbins might surprise us. But I until I see it, I mean, we got to see a solid 2 or 3 weeks out of J.K. Dobbins. I mean, put J.K. Dobbins in the same position that we put Saquon Barkley last season. Like for these running backs that it takes a while to come back from this ACL and to be comfortable running and cutting. For the season you're talking about on the season, I'm rolling with J.K. Dobbins. Yes, and Hurricane and I both agree on this. If he's healthy, and that's a big if. I just think it's going to take longer for J.K. Dobbins to come back. I mean, if I'm you and I have J.K. Dobbins, like just fully understand that you're probably not going to have a healthy running back until week 8. So I hope you have another 2 running backs and somehow can play the waiver to fill in if you need until J.K. Dobbins comes back. But I think once he comes back, like he'll put up solid 12, 14 points per game, which will be enough in your RB2 spot to really help make that last second push towards the playoffs. Oh, for sure. Any running back that gets majority of the touches, like for real, Hurricane. In a lot of leagues, like before they signed Kenyon Drake, and And if J.K. Dobbins, let's say they come out and say J.K. Dobbins isn't going to play tomorrow, which is what I imagine happens. Like the temptation to just put Mike Davis in, even after what Mike Davis did last offseason, is enough to make me think, you know what? Screw it. I'm throwing Mike Davis in my lineup. But I am a little bit nervous about Kenyon Drake and just Lamar Jackson taking more rushing out of the gate too. So let me know. This is my question for you guys. And then I saw Boston Strangler has one. Here, I will show this team. This is in one of my leagues. Here, let's see what my lineup currently is. So I'm in my flex right now. I'm Michael Thomas and Robert Woods. Those are my two flexes. I have Kareem Hunt and Mike Davis on my bench. I'm leaning towards playing one of those guys over Robert Woods. Maybe I'm just gonna throw Robert Woods and just hope that it works out and that his ACL is fully healed. But I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I don't know how high you guys are on Mike Davis. So Hurricane, let me know. Mike Davis over Kareem Hunt or Robert Woods. And then Hurricane, I'll get to your question after this. The Boston Strangler. Will Pittman finish top 10 PPR? No. He will not. But I think barring injury, if there's a ton of injuries potentially, I think he was our channel. Where were we at in my rankings? Preseason rankings. He's my wide receiver like 13 or 14, I think. So I think he gets the volume. I think he gets the volume for sure. It just depends on what he actually does with it. Yeah, no, and I know you're talking top 10 wide receivers. Yeah, not top 10 overall. I would say no to that easily. But, I mean, there's always a world with these wide receivers that they get the volume due to injuries to some of these other guys that if they play a full season. Like, I typically like to, value it, wide receivers on a points per game basis because I think that's a little bit more, you want the guys that are top 10 wide receivers on a points per game basis because that helps you win your weeks, aside from, guys that just stay healthy the whole season, put up mediocre wide receiver 2 numbers, but then finish as a wide receiver 1 almost. Hurricane says Mike Davis or Julio if Dobbins is out and Godwin plays. Oh, bro, I'm in this situation, and I think I just talked about this. I'm not concerned about Godwin. I'm not playing Godwin anywhere. So if you have Godwin in any roster, I know that's not what your question is. I'm not playing Godwin for sure. I'm not concerned about. I think I'm leaning Julio. Because he's playing with Brady, and I'm just worried Mike Davis. What if he, craps on us like he did with Atlanta last year where we were all drafting him because we thought he was going to do the bell count and then it didn't happen. I don't know, man. That's really rough. I think I'm leaning Julio. Though. I'm putting it down. I'm leaning Julio. But I swear, if you DM me on Twitter after the second series, Julio Jones comes out with a hamstring injury, I will say I take full responsibility for that. I'm just hoping that he can make it through one game without a hamstring. What do you think of the news of likely being used as a third wide receiver in Baltimore? Yeah, I mean, good. We need the more receivers that can attract attention away from Mark Andrews, and Rashard Bateman's going to be better for everyone. I don't know what that's going to look like. I mean, cool, he's the third guy, but even the wide receiver 2, Hollywood Brown wasn't putting up ridiculous stats. Last season, he was the wide receiver 24 on the whole season. I forget what his points per game basis was, but it wasn't amazing. So I don't know. I'm not that concerned, but I do think it's worth a shot. If you're in a tight end premium league and you need a tight end 2 or a tight end 3, take the shot on Isaiah Likely. Go on ahead. Anyway, I just want to say, appreciate all the viewers for tuning in. I'm getting to the questions as we go. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers by the beginning of next week. So it would help me a lot if you would hit that subscribe button, and we're just doing these lives and I'm trying to help you win your fantasy football league. So why not? That's my sales pitch. Doc D coming in, my guy, Doc D. Joe Flacco, going to be the Millie Maker QB. Oh my goodness. I'm all in on Elijah Moore this week. If anyone remembers what Elijah Moore did with Joe Flacco last season, or when Joe Flacco played, Elijah Moore was going off. Absolutely going off. So, yeah, I'm in on Joe Flacco. Take the shot. What is he even in DFS? What is his price right now on DraftKings? Is he he's probably not much. And then you can just fill out the rest of your roster and bank on what if Joe Flacco has a killer game going against Baltimore, Also, sorry, I know that background noise. Apologize about that. But yeah, I easily see that one going. Marty coming in here. Full PPR start 1. Kadarius Toney, Miles Sanders, Brandon Cooks, and Juju. Brandon Cooks for sure. If I had to pick a second one off the top, it'd probably be Juju, but leaning Brandon Cooks for sure there, Marty. Don't come back and haunt me if I got that wrong, but I just like Brandon Cooks against the Colts. Texans are going to get down early and going to have to throw. Typical Texans game plan where Brandon Cooks might be sitting at 4 points at halftime, and you're going to be like, Caleb, what the heck? Like, you told me to start Brandon Cooks. Second half rolls around, they're just airing the ball out. Brandon Cooks finishes the game with 7-8 catches, 75 yards, and maybe a TD, and you're feeling pretty good about yourself in the thing. Tommy B, sup, man? Hey, need a last-minute half PPR piece. Sky Moore, AJ Green, or Sammy Watkins. Ooh, Tommy, this is rough. This is rough, my guy. Appreciate you being here. Hit that subscribe button, dude. If you like this take, just wait for me to give it to you before you subscribe. The thing I will say this. So Sky Moore, wide receiver 4 on Kansas City. So he's out. AJ Green is washed. But he might be the wide receiver 2 this week for the Arizona Cardinals. And then you have Sammy Watkins, who I swear to God will put up a 32-point game week 1 of every season. And you then think to yourself, this was why Sammy Watkins was a first-round pick to the Buffalo Bills, and this is why he is talented. And then he disappears. You know what? If I'm playing risky, for real, rolling that Russian roulette, I'm throwing Sammy Watkins out there and saying, somehow with Aaron Rodgers, he's going to make it work. And now I say that, and it just doesn't feel good, but the other 2 options you offered me, I'm definitely leaning Sammy Watkins. So Hurricane says AJ Green. But I'm disagreeing with that. I'm saying Sammy Watkins. I think both aren't great options, to be completely fair, Tommy. So I think you are just praying for the best for either scenario. So I am leaning on Sammy Watkins. Marty, thoughts on Duvernay? Don't have a lot of great thoughts other than I hope this is the year. I know third year? You're hoping that he can just get on the field more than just being a kick return. He's super fast. Like I said, if Rashard Bateman and Mark Andrews don't excel this year, I don't think there's any reason to think that these other guys are going to get a piece of the pie. Duvernay's probably just a waiver wire ad if he has some crazy game, and I would not be worried about it because I'm probably just leaving him there. That's my thoughts on him, Marty. Yeah. Ooh, Boston Strangler, great show, dude. Appreciate you being here. Tune in tomorrow, 12 o'clock. We are going at noon EST before the 1 o'clock slate. We will be doing last minute starts and sits. And I might be having to ask you guys questions about my rosters because I got to make sure all those are set before tomorrow, which is always fun. Making sure that we win some money and win some bragging rights. That's what we're here to do. Ricardo, appreciate you being here, my guy. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. If you like this analysis, and if you don't, tune in tomorrow and my analysis might change and then you might like it a little bit more. Full PPR, Deontay Johnson, T. Higgins, DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, pick 2. Dude, you have the ultimate wide receiver core and you only get to pick 2. So let me go to the wide receiver schedule. Off the top, I'm leaning T. Higgins for sure. Because the Bengals are playing the Steelers. Yeah, for sure T. Higgins. And then I say DJ Moore. I say we roll with DJ Moore. We need to see, and I think it's the upside shots for both. What did Hurricane say? Oh, I didn't even see Hurricane. Bro, Hurricane, we're agreeing on this. So let me give some more analysis on that, Ricardo. T. Higgins, highest upside receiver you have out of those 4. So we're for sure throwing him in there. If you look actually on the points per game splits between him and Jamar Chase last season, it wasn't that far off. And if T. Higgins didn't get hurt, I think it'd be a lot closer. And we'd probably be drafting T. Higgins in the second round instead of the third round of redraft this season. I'm taking DJ Moore because it's a revenge game for Baker. So they're probably going to be having to throw the ball a lot because it's going to be a close game, but there's a chance with how bad Carolina's defense is and how good the Cleveland Browns defense is that I think they might fall behind, so they're going to have to throw the ball. And if DJ Moore gets his typical 12 to 15 targets from Baker, I am excited about that. I need to see the splits with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Especially if you drafted Jalen Waddle in the 4th or 5th, great value there. So I totally respect that you have Jalen Waddle. I might just sit him this week and see because he's definitely going to have that high upside shot coming into, the next few weeks. So you're going to need that depth with all 4 of those guys. And then Deontay Johnson, I want to see what the starting quarterback looks like. Is he still going to get peppered with targets like Big Ben did? I don't know. What's the splits between him, Chase Claypool, and George Pickens going to look like? So I am rolling with T. Higgins and DJ Moore because I feel like it's the safest high upside shots. But I wouldn't, if you wanted to switch out DJ Moore, Jalen Waddle, I think that's more of the conversation you have to have. Marty, LOL. Yeah, appreciate you being here. Bravante, appreciate you being here, my guy. If you haven't hit that subscribe, helps me out a ton. I'm trying to get to 100 subscribers. Where are we at? No one's told me where we're at here tonight. Let me click on this. Not that I, guys, we're at 91. We're making progress. 9 more, and then we are to our goal that we set. You guys are legends in this chat. But he says AJ Dillon or Romander Stevenson PPR. AJ Dillon for sure. Don't even have to, like, if you want some analysis, the analysis is we don't know what the Packers wide receivers are going to be like, so they're going to have to run the ball, and they're going to use Aaron Jones a lot more in the passing game, a lot more opportunities for AJ Dillon. And at the end of last season, he was playing about 50% of the touches. Ramondre Stevenson is playing for the Pats. Even though I like him more than Damien Harris, I still, in this circumstance, like AJ Dillon over Ramondre Stevenson in a full PPR format. And I think AJ Dillon actually has higher PPR upside over Ramondre Stevenson. So, Bronte, hope that helped you. Hope we win tomorrow. Sammy Watkins is the week 1 fantasy king. Agree with you, the Boston Strangler. Totally agree. Then drop material. What material are you wanting me to drop? What material are we? What material? Are you talking to me or are you talking to Hurricane here in the chat? Let me know. Hurricane Quentin Nelson just got a 4-year, $80 million, $60 million guarantee. Bonkers guard numbers. Yes, he's the way he helps the run game. Like, you just run it to the left side and Quentin Nelson will just absolutely. I mean, Jonathan Taylor, we should have thought more about when Jonathan Taylor landed there. Like, we were like, oh, he landed with a great offensive line. Like, we should have been like, Jonathan Taylor's a talented running back. They don't really have a great passing attack, so Jonathan Taylor is going to become this really great running back. Like, we overthought it. We were drafting CEH before Jonathan Taylor, looking like fools over here in the fantasy football community. How much will Robinson cut into ETN's work? Now, that is a great question, the Boston Strangler. Hurricane says not enough to matter in fantasy. I don't know, though. I just think Travis Etienne is going to be used out of the backfield for pass catches. He's going to be the starting running back. I mean, I'm not saying I think James Robinson will get a lot larger of a role than we thought, but I still think it doesn't cap the upside especially where you were drafting Travis Etienne, he's probably your RB2, RB3. Well, RB3 if you want robust RB, following the fantasy football counselor's advice. But I'm confident that you would just you're fine with I wouldn't be worried if you have Travis Etienne. And if you have James Robinson, you definitely don't start him tomorrow. Just wait to see what happens. Like, I know a lot of like zero RB truthers are super happy about James Robinson, but I would just wait. I would just put a pause on it and wait. Boston Strangler is confident that Robinson will be getting the carries. Well, I'm happy in your confidence. I just don't know. Coming if Michael Thomas is out, will Laundry bump up to number? Well, no. It'll be Chris Olave. I mean, Landry will probably stay in the slot. And then Olave will still be in the X. I mean, I guess if you're depending like fantasy football wide receiver, like I'm still confident Chris Olave will outproduce Jarvis Landry. Not saying Jarvis Landry won't get a bump up. Like easily, like Jarvis Landry easily then becomes a wide receiver 2 if Michael Thomas doesn't play. But I'm just not confident. Like, even when he was the wide receiver 2 for the Cleveland Browns playing across from Odell Beckham Jr., like Jarvis Landry only had a few good games every fantasy football season. So he's better in best ball. Like, I would never feel comfortable rolling out Jarvis Landry in my fantasy football lineup. Chase Edmonds, possible week 1 top 12 RB versus the Patriots who gave up bottom half against passing RBs. Man, you know your stuff, Boston Strangler. I do like Chase Edmonds. Now that we're saying, I forget where I have him for this week. Let me quickly. This might be trippy for some of you. So let me go to my channel. Where do we have? Where did I have him? So if we see this, I have Chase Edmonds all the way down here. So what? He's my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I have him as my RB29 for this week. So if that helps. I mean, I get it. He does have upside. I just don't think. I think with I just think with the way that Mike McDaniel's going to run the offense and have like multiple different running backs. No, I'm rolling with. If you have another option, I'm rolling with another option. But like, yeah, I try to do these tiers. So I have a tier video for running backs and a cheer video for wide receivers. So if you haven't checked that out yet, check that out. I go a little bit more in depth than what we're just going to be doing over here, where I'm just giving like quick, rapid reactions. But yeah, check out those videos. Watch a few minutes of them. Helps me out a ton with watch time, and just like them too, because that helps too. And like I said, it only has 130 views, so your league mates haven't viewed it yet. So no worries about giving out the secret sauce. Marty, what's the optimal fantasy league size? I like 10 team. Marty, everyone does like everyone does like 10 team leagues because your rosters end up looking like all-stars. Optimal though, I will say, if you can't find 2 more people, then you need to make a few more friends. And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm just having fun. But yeah, 12 is the most ideal. Like, you're just gonna have a lot more fun. There's gonna be a lot more like league, like the league's just gonna be a lot more competitive because you have to play the waivers, and it just becomes a better way. If you can get good playing in 12-man leagues, like, you're just going to become a better fantasy football player as a whole. Hurricane 12 is max fun. Anymore, it gets a little gross. Yeah, if you get to a 14-man league, like, you start getting a little bit weird with your rosters and making hard decisions that come back to bite you later on. Marty, yeah, like 10 and 12. I'm in a couple 8-man. You need to nail the draft if you're in a tough shape. Yeah, 8-man, it's like superstars are bust, you know? And then people try to trade you like, you know, 3 for 1 when you're like, bro, like, I don't have none of these 3 players you're trading me are even worth anything. They're not going to see my starting roster. Barante, I just subscribed. Appreciate the analysis and confirmation. I'm tuning in for sure tomorrow at 11 a.m. CT. Yes. Appreciate you. To all you guys that are on like, CST, MST, PST, like, man, you guys get an early Sunday start of games, you know, like you do. You don't have to wait until noon. Or I guess till 1, like I have to wait till. But I guess then too, like I feel like it happens in the afternoon, where for you it's like in the morning. Diachi, appreciate you being here. If you haven't already, like and subscribe, helps me out a ton. Cole Kmet, Robert Tonyan, Michael Carter, Cordell Patterson, and PPR Flex. Ooh, PPR Flex. I'm leaning Cordell Patterson. Do you need 2 though? If I had to make a thing, I'd say Cordell, Cole Kmet, and then Michael Carter. That's my thoughts on that one. I think the hard thing with this too is like you said it is PPR, and I do like me some Cole Kmet. We don't know what, like, all these reports about Michael Carter being the actual like workhorse. Like, I don't know. I love me some Breece Hall. So if Michael Carter really beat out Breece Hall, like, I bet by week 8 it's not going to be the case. But what's going to be happening here in the meantime? Rob, my freaking guy, Doug, what's your hottest take for tomorrow? Hot take, spicy take. What is my top take? I don't know if I have a juicy take. I'm trying to think. Man, I think if I had to like put one, Patrick Mahomes drops 4. I guess it depends on your league settings, but let's say you're playing in like a 4 passing league touchdown, like typical ESPN settings. Patrick Mahomes drops 40 fantasy points tomorrow. That'd be my spicy hot take. I know that's maybe not as spicy. So let me give you another one. Another spicy take is Antonio Gibson is going to finish as a top 12 fantasy running back tomorrow. That's another one. But I do like Antonio Gibson. I'm not an Antonio Gibson truther. Don't take that the wrong way. But Tone, my guy. Let me first, Rob, appreciate you being here. Big fan, OG of the channel. Tone, Chase Edmonds, or AJ Dillon. Ooh, well, if we re-examine the video that I just put with the tiers, I have AJ Dillon in my B tier, and I have Chase Edmonds in my C tier. So we're going AJ Dillon for sure. Ooh, heavy hitter Rob saying I'm the best streamer in the business. That's not true. Not yet. We're getting there though. Slowly but surely. I'm only a month into this thing. You know, maybe after we've been doing it for a solid 2 or 3 years, then we could all of a sudden be like, you know what, we can start flexing our muscles a little bit. But if you haven't already checked out sometimes I do wear a tank, so we do flex. We do flex around here for sure. My hottest take for the year is T. Higgins finishes above Jamar. You know what? That is not crazy at all, Marty. That's not crazy at all. I think like I don't know if you were here when I was talking about the points per game difference. Like, it's not that different. And especially too, like T. Higgins did not get the amount of touchdowns that like typically like. I think he only had 4 touchdowns, and he's a 6'4", 230 type guy. So like, imagine if all of a sudden this year he like doubles his touchdowns. His touchdown goes from 4 to 8. Like, Mike Evans gets 12 to 15 touchdowns every single year, and T. Higgins is built like almost exactly like him. I know they play different. They're a different style type wide receiver, but with a more efficient offensive line, like no reason to think that I think T. Higgins and Jamar Chase will both do very well, but I do think the gap maybe closes slightly. So totally agree with your hot take. Don't think it's that. Don't think. I mean, it is spicy, but I don't think it's that unrealistic that it's like, man, that's super spicy. I like it. Yeah, Hurricane. I do like it too. Hurricane Lane. I have no life, so I'm all about fantasy football. The Boston Strangler. I have no life, but that's why I do this. I decided to make my life around fantasy football. What do I do outside of fantasy football? It's literally family and work. Those are like, if you were to encompass all three of those, like that is what I do on a daily basis. So super thankful to be talking about fantasy football, because if I didn't have fantasy football, well, I do music too. I play drums and guitar. So that is something else that maybe the typical person might not know here on YouTube. But other than that, it's just, fantasy football. Higgins fell a yard short of the goal line in 4 times last. I should have brought up the stat, Hurricane. I'm glad you did. If he had scored, he would have been wide receiver 8 in only 14 games. Yes. Yeah, exactly. If he all of a sudden he goes from 4 to 8, big difference in T. Higgins stats year-to-year basis. Yeah, that is a crazy stat. I am falling way behind on these chats. So let me go. We got Marty just being a savage. I guess I'll ask my mom. I don't even remember what that's from, so I apologize about that, Marty. Will Davis Mills finish over Trevor and Fields as a top fantasy football quarterback of 2021? No, don't. Let's not go that crazy. I think Trevor and Fields will definitely improve this year. I don't know what it's going to look like from a fantasy football perspective, because most of the time you're drafting all 3 of these guys as your QB2. So I like, if you had to put a gun to my head and said who I like for fantasy this year, I'm taking Justin Fields over Trevor Lawrence, just based on the rushing floor that Justin Fields has. But it'll be closer for sure. I think Davis Mills, maybe he shows out. But what happens if Texans get a high draft pick next year and they have the ability to draft CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson, or Bryce Young? That's not my order for next year, so I forgot Bryce Young off the top. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, closer than people think. The Boston Strangler, Dameon Pierce, top 20 RB. I don't know. I'm not like a huge Dameon Pierce truther. Everyone's getting so hyped about him being the starter, them dropping Marlon Mack. Like, great. I'm glad if you drafted him in the 7th or 8th round and now all of a sudden he's like a 5th round value. Congratulations. I'm glad that you got him. But do we actually think that he's going to get 15 to 20 touches a game when he didn't get that at Florida? I know a lot of people are going to say he had the juice and like looked into everything, yada, yada, yada. I'm just a little bit worried. What's his receiving work going to be like? Because that's the real question I have, because the Texans are going to be down a lot and they're going to have to throw the ball. So if he can really get it cracking in the receiving game and be a really great pass blocker, like I think Dameon Pierce definitely has that top 15 ceiling. I just don't know if that's going to happen. So I think he's probably going to finish this year somewhere around RB20 to RB24, which will be super valuable for your fantasy team. Just maybe not that elite level upside that we're looking for. Hurricane, we are literally, I promise you, dude, I do not look at your takes before I go into my takes. So, but every time I like scroll down and see that we have the same takes, like, makes me feel good. Hurricane, might have to have you on the show at some point. Steven, what's up, guy? Appreciate you being here. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate it a lot. We're up to 93 subscribers. We're trying to get to 100. So if you haven't subscribed already on the stream, helps me out a lot. 7 away. And then you know what? I might flex for the people on the stream. If we hit it tonight, I will flex for everybody. I kind of already did, but I don't even have big muscles. I'm just over here trying to provide some entertainment and some value. Should I start Renfro or Stevenson? Half PPR. Oh my goodness. This is closer. I think I'm still rolling with. I'm rolling with Renfro. That's my final answer. Final answer for this week, because I need to see if Stevenson has a huge like if the splits between Stevenson and Damien Harris are like, Stevenson's getting 60, Damien Harris is only getting 40, like, sure, I'd probably lean Stevenson. But since I think it's going to be more 50-50, I'm leaning Renfro, especially in a high score game where Waller and Adams will be the focal point. And I think Renfro has a chance to eat. Marty, think Akers will play a role this year, or is going to continue to be basically all Henderson? Great questions. I think everyone on Twitter, and especially in the fantasy football community, like, we love to overreact. We really do. So Allen Robinson is dead to us. Cam Akers is dead to us after what we saw. I am leaning on saying that he will have a role at some point. Daryl Henderson has proven that he hasn't been able to stay like fully healthy, but I also will remind everybody that when Daryl Henderson was playing without Cam Akers, that Daryl Henderson was a top 15 fantasy running back. So it's not like Daryl Henderson isn't talented. I just think Cam Akers definitely does have the higher upside if this Achilles injury, if he can regain his athletic form, it just didn't look like he had a lot of athletic form. Now, let's be clear. When Matthew Stafford throws it 10 yards behind the offensive line and he gets back, he gains 10 yards, but he doesn't get a fantasy point because he literally just got back to the line of scrimmage. Like, that's not his fault. But like the missed block where Stafford then got sacked because he couldn't block on the pass block, and then, he didn't look super explosive. Like, that does concern me. And we haven't seen a running back come back from an Achilles, but yeah, I wouldn't be too worried about it. But if we have Henderson, we're feeling very excited about the rest of the season. So I'm either selling him if you can get like an elite guy, or I'm just holding because fantasy football points, Diachi, no idea what to expect from Michael Carter with Joe Flacco or Patterson. No idea what to expect for Michael Carter with Flacco or Patterson with Mariota. Haha. Yeah, exactly. We don't know what to expect with either of those guys. Like, I think Patterson, I'm a little less concerned about. I mean, Michael Carter, you're concerned about Joe Flacco, but you're also concerned about Breece Hall. Whereas Patterson, there's really no one. Like, we all love the thought that Tyler Algier will eventually get some touches, but like, what are those touches ever going to be with the Falcons? So I'm more concerned about Michael Carter than I am Cordell Patterson, even though I think Cordell Patterson has like the age gap is something to be said. You know what I said? Did I say Steven or Stefan? I don't know. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, man. Hottest take is Renfro has a better year than Adams. Defense paying attention to Adams. Waller leave quick passes to Renfro. Yes, I mean, I think Renfro, this offense is going to be dynamic. They're playing in a conference where you're going up against the Chiefs, the Chargers, and the Broncos 8 times. So you're going to have to throw the ball a lot. So I easily see the place where like Renfro finishes as a top 28 receiver this season. Now, I think the issue that I have, like, that is a bold take, really hot take. I just think Adams, the connection, like, they signed him to so much money, like, they're going to want to prove everyone that, like, this was the right signing for us. And I think Adams is just too good, even though it's going to be a little less, like, quality targets going from being thrown from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr. But now the man doesn't have to play out in the blizzard snow. So I imagine that would also help his overall game a lot, because a lot of people talk about that towards the end of the season. Underdog put out a tweet, Kittle not expected to play. You know what, Hurricane, I need to make you a moderator on this chat, my guy, because you know the stuff. Okay, Kittle not playing, then we are bumping up Ayuk for sure. Marty, you play guitar too? What type of guitar do you play? I have a Fender Telecaster, a Gibson Les Paul, and a Martin acoustic. Play mostly electric, but do some acoustic stuff, because that's how I found my wife. Like that was the playing the guitar, singing a little bit. And then I got married and I don't ever do it anymore. So to all you young guys out there, learn to play the guitar. Heavy hitter Rod. I just told Twitter Caleb's getting the scissors out at 100 subs and turning his shirt into a tank. You know what? We might be doing that. Where are we at right now? I don't even know. If we hit it to, you know what, Rob? I have a tank though. I'll wear it tomorrow for you. We're at 94. We need 6 more. So it might not happen tonight. It's fine. It's fine if it doesn't happen tonight. But I will say that I will wear a tank for you tomorrow. Maybe I'll like bring it down. I won't cut it live on stream, because this is the thing. Like, this is like a gray shirt. Like, who wears a gray tank? I guess that's not as wild as a thing to say, but I don't know. I'll get to everyone's questions, because I know we still got quite a bit of questions. I'm falling behind here. Yeah, Marty, 8 acres did look bad. The Boston Strangler, Leonard Fournette or Derrick Henry week 1 PPR? Derrick Henry for sure. Even though Leonard Fournette in a PPR setting is intriguing, you drafted Derrick Henry in the first, you're rolling with Derrick Henry. I'm more worried about Akers than A-Rob. Exactly. A-Rob, if you someone posted like all of A-Rob's on Twitter, I'm not even giving him credit because I forget who posted, but like showed all the routes he ran. He was like open. It's just the offensive line didn't give Matthew Stafford the time. So I don't think it's the fact that Matthew Stafford is only likes Cooper Kupp or only throws it to, I heard someone say that he only throws it to white guys, which was Twitter is ferocious when it comes to stuff like that. But yeah, no, I don't think it's any of that. I think Allen Robinson, like, we got to remember too, Robert Woods had a terrible week 1. And then all of a sudden, like week 2 through week 12 was like, or week 8 was like the wide receiver 13. So like, I'm not worried. I'm not off the Allen Robinson train, but we're getting there. Oh, Boston Regular, we're getting there, my guy. We're getting there. I appreciate you guys so much for being here. I got Gabe Davis. Is he worth selling high as he is now, or do you think he has more to come? Hurricane and I talk about, we were tweeting about this. Rob also, we were talking about this. Oh yeah, Hurricane. Yeah, for sure. But Gabe Davis, it depends on what you can get. I think that's where we're at. People are drafting him if you can get him for more than what you drafted him for. So we're like in the 5th round. Like if you can get, let's say someone was willing to give you Deontay Johnson, or you were able to get like into that like T Higgins tier, like DJ Moore. Like I might take those guys, of course, over Gabe Davis. But I don't think you're going to be able to do that. So you're probably going to have to hold Gabe Davis. And you know what? It might not be a bad thing because Gabe Davis might continue to remind us that he's legit and we won't be worried about it. Marty, I'm worried about Crowder, McKenzie, and even Knox playing a bigger role. Yeah. McKenzie scoring that touchdown, I think, was really exciting. I think we can see the burst that McKenzie has. I am worried about Knox. Why did they give him the big contract if he wasn't going to be a part of the plans? And then, yeah, I think McKenzie's definitely going to be the better player than Crowder, but I think Crowder does have that veteran leadership. And so I'm leaning for Isaiah McKenzie. So if you have Isaiah McKenzie, don't drop him. I mean, he did put up only 9 points for you this week, but he did catch that touchdown. It was exciting. Hey, Caden, appreciate you being here, my guy. Caden, the Colts fan. I'm glad you clarified that. I actually, right now, I'm in Ohio. I'm visiting I'm at my parents' house, but I live in Indiana. So I live in Warsaw, Indiana. So let me know if you're a fellow Hoosier. I'm a Buckeye, but I've been adopted into the Hoosier family. Hunter Henry or Zackertz? I think it depends. Zackertz, if Zackertz plays, you're playing Zackertz. Like fair and square. There's no target competition happening there for Zach Ertz. It's only going to be him in Hollywood, essentially. But, of course, if Zach Ertz ends up not playing, which I think he's going to play, he was shown on the practice field, like running, play him. The Boston Strangler, do you trust Barkley in New York with no weapons outside in a bad QB? Yes, I do. The volume's going to be there for Saquon. Will he do anything with it? That's the question that we have to ask. But even everyone's like, last year he didn't play great. Well, yeah, he like right when he was getting ramped up, from the ACL, then of course he like gets that high ankle sprain. So that's just like a freak injury. And if we look at what he was doing, like he did like that last week, put up, I think it was like 16 or 18 fantasy points. So I'm all in on Saquon this year. All in on Saquon. I have him for this week. He is in my A tier. I mean, I have him behind a few other guys. I think I forget who they're playing off the top. I know they're playing a pretty good defense. The Giants are. So I think, they're playing the Titans. So I don't know. I think if he gets receiving work, I'm not as concerned. I mean, Daniel Jones is bad. Hurricane Davis is efficient and gets deep targets. He's a must play as a weekly threat for 20 points. Yeah. I mean, you probably drafted him in the 5th round, so you're throwing him in your flex. But like I said, if you could get someone better, then yes, do it. But if you can't, and you're getting someone around the same range that has the same upside, like keep Davis. Liked and subscribed, enjoying the content. That's what I like to hear. I like just hanging out with you guys. And I say you guys generally, like if we have females that somehow love fantasy football and are here, like shout out to all the females that follow me. Not a lot. It's almost all family that follow me that are females. So appreciate you all tuning into. We need more females in the fantasy football space for sure. You play Strat, Marty. Oh, maybe when, like in the far future, we've started this major media company and that talks all things like fantasy football. Maybe we will branch out into doing guitar covers. That's a day in the far, far future. Can confirm, play guitar, have girlfriend. Hurricane, exactly. You play a guitar. So for all of you gentlemen watching this and at any age, listen, guitar, to play for a woman, you need 4 chords: G, E minor, C, and D. You do that, you can play almost any song, and all of a sudden women are swimming over you. It literally took you a week and a half to learn, and all of a sudden you go from, let's say you go, we don't do ratings here, but let's say you go from like a 7, like you're just like you feel like you're an average guy, so you're like a 6 or 7. Listen, everyone is beautiful, so I want you to know that. But let's say that's what you view yourself. Dude, I tell you, you play the guitar, you're instantly, your confidence going to an 8 or 9. That's going to like increase and it's going to show to all the women, and game over. Yeah. Guess Twitter doesn't remember Calvin Johnson. No, Twitter does not remember Calvin Johnson whatsoever. And it's sad. It's sad because he was an amazing fantasy football player and football player in general. His career got cut way too short. Twitter is toxic. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Lucas, to everyone that's still here, I apologize. We got tons of questions that I still need to get to, so apologize for being a little bit delayed here in the chat. But what are your thoughts on Michael Thomas and Rashard Bateman this year? Yes, Michael Thomas. We love Michael Thomas. We've been waiting for Michael Thomas. Will he play? That's another question. We are not doctors. I'm not the fantasy doctors, so I cannot tell you that. But I will tell you, if Michael Thomas is 90% of himself and he's out there on the field, Michael Thomas will perform at a high-end wide receiver 2 to low-end wide receiver 1 rate. That is my take. Rashard Bateman. Now, that's a little bit harder. We project Rashard Bateman to do really well. We really loved it when we were able to get Rashard Bateman in the late 6th, early 7th in a lot of our best ball drafts or even our redraft leagues. But we're excited for him too. I just think what's going to happen with the Baltimore Ravens, how are the targets between Mark Andrews, Rashard Bateman going to be there? I mean, he is the wide receiver 1. They didn't sign anybody else. They are very confident in Rashard Bateman. So we're excited. We're excited for Rashard Bateman. Lucas, appreciate you having you in the stream. And then you said, would you start Kyler or Russell Wilson this weekend? Ooh, and this is another question. So we got Arizona against the Chiefs. So we're looking at a pretty high scoring game there. And we got Russell Wilson versus the Seahawks. The thing is, Kyler Murray has like the rushing upside that like, Russell Wilson, he can scramble, but like he's getting up there in age. So he's not trying to as much. I think I lean Kyler. This week. It's going to be close though. Like if Russell Wilson goes out, throws 3 or 4 touchdowns, like you're going to probably come back and be like, man, why did I listen to Caleb? But I think Kyler Murray, we're looking at like 2 touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. And that's enough to make me say, I feel a lot safer drafting Kyler Murray. I don't know. I wish Hurricane would have commented on that one so I could have judged what he said. But yeah, I'm leaning Kyler. Are any Browns wide receivers startable week 1? No, not at all. And I'm sorry if you drafted Amari Cooper in your flex spot because I wouldn't feel comfortable. I would not feel comfortable at all. And maybe Amari Cooper does his typical week 1 game where he drops like 40 points. And I'll be like, wow, him and Jacoby Brissett have such a great connection. Like I should have been drafting a lot more Amari Cooper, but I have a feeling that that's not going to be the case. So I'm not doing any of that. Caden, you're 30 minutes from Warsaw, bro. What's up? Hope you subscribe to the channel. Now that we're pretty close. But yeah, appreciate you. Marty, now go Gophers. How did the Gophers do today? I didn't even look at how they ended up doing today. The thing is, I'm a Buckeye fan, so I'm originally from Ohio. So yeah. Ertz is on a snap count, by the way. Okay, Caden, someone needed to tell me this because I haven't been on Twitter or to get the news. If Ertz is on a snap count, yeah, I'm still leaning Kyler. With his rushing and legs ability. They're just going to be, if Ertz is on a pitch count, everyone start freaking Hollywood Brown. If you got him anywhere, like I had him in a league where he was on my bench and it was between Travis Etienne and Hollywood Brown. I put in Hollywood Brown. Like I'm going full upside all the way, all day there with Arizona Cardinals. Cooper is startable in PPR. Yeah, in PPR he is. Depends on how many targets you're going to get. And Jacoby Brissett is a fine backup quarterback, but it's not like we're talking about some elite level guy, elite level. I don't know. The pool guy, bro. Wicked YouTube name. Do you work on pools? You got to tell me you work on pools. Good commentary. Boom kicker of the week. Man, if I had to pick a kicker this week, oh man. Just whatever game is going to have the most like high scoring points. So if you could find like one of the Raiders or Chargers kickers, I think that would be exciting. If you could get the Cowboys kicker, I mean, I don't know how many drives you're going to be able to finish off against the Buccaneers, but they're going to have to move the ball. I mean, you got the Bengals with Evan McPherson being like a killer guy. Like, I don't know. Kickers is so hard. Like, I try not to dive too deep into kickers. I more care about defense. So, like, if we wanted to talk defense, like, I would totally understand that. But kickers, even if you think they're going to have, like, they're playing in a high scoring game, like, there's a chance they only kick like extra points, which don't count a lot towards your fantasy points. I bet. LOL, pool guy. Yes. You only know B sharp and E sharp with a winky face. Okay, I'm confused. Maybe in my head I'm trying to think of my musical theory right now. B sharp, E sharp. Let me get back to this. Marty, I'm letting you down. The Boston Strangler. Will Corey Davis catch more passes, maybe less yards than Elijah Mitchell? Or do you mean Elijah Moore tomorrow? No, Elijah Moore, most receptions tomorrow by far. Corey Davis, I'm not excited at all about Corey Davis. Between him competing with Garrett Wilson, they're going to want to get Garrett Wilson on the field, so Corey Davis is going to be, I think, going out. But week 1 for sure, Corey Davis will get the majority of the snap work between him and Garrett Wilson. Joshua 1, appreciate you being here, my guy. Can you tell me another option to change Knox? Like, you mean like another option to like on your waiver wire? Give me some more context on that. I promise I'll get to your question if you explain a little bit more? Like, are you trying to flip like he's in your flex and you're trying to get another option, or you're thinking of like other guys, like if like Noah Fant's on your waiver wire, like I might lean that way too. Or Marty says Higbee. I'm confused. Like, oh, you're talking to Joshua? Like you would take Higbee over Knox? Colts fan traded Amari and Andre for DJ Moore. Andres for DJ Moore, AJ Brown, and Ertz. What? Andres? Who do you mean by Andres? I'm confused there. Maybe miss. Wait. Oh, Andrews. You traded Amari and Andrews for DJ Moore, AJ Brown, and Ertz. Oh, for sure. DJ Moore and AJ Brown. I mean, I might take AJ Brown. You could argue AJ Brown and Andrews are in the same tier. And then you're looking at DJ Moore and Ertz for Amari. Oh, for sure. Great deal there. Caden, you subbed. Oh, my guy. Appreciate you being here. That's a W. Yep, Hurricane. That's a major dub. That is a major dub. So Ertz on a snap count or Henry? Oh, goodness gracious. I'm not looking at yours, Hurricane. I'm not looking at what you're saying. Yeah, go Henry. He's gonna have more opportunities. What'd you say, Henry? Yes. Let's go. Like I said, if you are here and you have not yet subbed, I'm at 90. Where are we at? We're at 98. We are 2 subs away here from 100, folks. And that has been my goal this whole time making this YouTube channel. I never thought we'd get to this point so fast. I appreciate all you guys coming in the community. As always, we are going live again tomorrow. So I'm getting to all the questions here, but we are going live again tomorrow. So at 12 noon EST time. So appreciate you guys for all sticking around. Boston Strangler, do you put more value in running quarterbacks in 250 to 4 than 250 to 6? Oh, you mean like in a 4 passing touchdown compared to a 6? Yeah, in a 4-point touchdown, like 4 point per passing touchdown league, like I'm all the way, like running quarterbacks are like, you're valuing them a lot higher than you are in like 6-point touchdowns, because like when you're in a 6-point league, like Tom Brady is a lot higher, like competes a lot more with like a Jalen Hurts, whereas like Jalen Hurts in a 4-point, passing touchdown, like the upside is like crazy. So yeah, I'm going with it is different, but like I said, the elite quarterbacks though in a 6-point, like there is a very much so difference though too, like between like a Justin Herbert and a Jalen Hurts in like a 6-point pass touchdown. So it's you kind of just have to play those settings, To all 15 viewers, appreciate you guys being here, trying to answer all your questions as fast as I can. If you haven't already, hit that sub button, trying to get to 100. We're almost there, guys. Helps me out a ton. Would you start Schultz or Mooney at flex this week? Oh, that's hard. I think I'm leaning Mooney just because he's a wide receiver, but I do have Schultz into my flex in a few spots. So I think both are very good options there, Lucas. I'm going with Mooney though. Just high upside. Wide receiver 1 for Justin Fields. Hurricane, who has the worst offense on the season, New England or Chicago? Oh, great question. I think it's going to be New England. I said that and I don't feel good because Bill Belichick's such a good coach. Is he though? Or was it Tom Brady? I guess we're going to find out this season. I just like the running backs a lot better for the Patriots. They have the depth, and then they do have the tight ends, and we don't love the wide receivers. Maybe Thornton just absolutely blows us away as a 2nd-round pick. But I'm leaning Chicago, even though I think both are bad, Hurricane. Tyler, appreciate you being here, my guy. Like I said, we're almost to our sub goal. So if someone, we're almost there. So if you haven't already, please sub. Helps me out a ton. Tyler, should I trade away Kamara for Andrews, Metcalf, and PPR? Running backs are Barkley, Monty, Pearson, Dillon. Need help at tight end and wide receiver. Oh man, that's a difficult one, my guy. Because I really do like Kamara. Like I think Kamara, like we could be talking about him, like because you probably drafted him in the late 1st, early 2nd, and we could be talking about him in that same range as like the top 3 guys, just based on the talent that he is. But you have Barkley, Monty. Who are your Tyler? Comment down below. Tell me your oh my gosh. Tell me your other running backs down below, or you tell me your tight end and your wide receivers down below, because it might help me when I see the full team. It's kind of hard to make this judge just based on your running back depth. I typically like to have 2 solid running backs, so I'm leaning against it. But depending on who if your tight end's pretty bad and you don't have good enough wide receivers, I wouldn't hate it at all. Oh, Marty, my guy. Oh, you're 99. Oh, we are almost there. Appreciate everyone tuning in right now. To all 17 viewers, guys, we are having a great live stream. We are going live again tomorrow at noon. So hit that sub button, hit that noti button so you know when we're going live, so you can ask all those final questions before we get into that week 1 and we're just having a good time. We're having a good time. I know it's a little bit early for all you West Coast peeps, but you know what's happening? You guys are getting up to watch football anyway and set your lineup. So what's the celebration for 100? Tomorrow I will be showing up in a tank. That will be the celebration for 100. And maybe I bring like food or something for me to eat on stream, you know? But we just hit 102, guys. Guys, you guys are the freaking best. I appreciate you guys just making like this guy that this is like just the dream. You're making the dream the reality over here. So I appreciate everyone for being here. Caden, the Colts fan, AJ Dillon, Jacoby Myers, Chase Edmonds, Michael Carter, Robert Woods, or DK at flex. You're going through all those guys. I'm going with I'm leaning DK, even though they're gonna have to throw the ball. They're gonna have to throw the ball against the Broncos for sure. Joshua 11. I started Knox at tight end this week in my waiver wire. I started Knox at tight end in my waiver wire. There's Everett, Fant, Henry, Alberto. Who do I grab for next week? I lean Henry. If I had to do it, I would do Henry, Fant, Everett, Alberto. I really do like Noah Fant this year. I really do. I've preached that, but I do think Hunter Henry might be a little bit more consistent with you. And depending on what happens, Gerald Everett might be just a great buy low, because if the Chargers actually throw to their tight end, then it could be great value. So I lean Henry and Fant in that. Falcons Nation 88. Appreciate you being here. Lockett or CH? We are going with Lockett. And if it's PPR, we need to see the workload that CAH is going to get for sure. The Boston Strangler, what's your optimal plays of the week? Top scores per position. The Boston Strangler, my guy. I have a lot. I have 2 videos. So I have my wide receiver rankings and my running back rankings that I released this week. Go check out those videos. I didn't have time to make my quarterbacks or tight ends. I really think just based on whoever you drafted as your QB1 or tight end 1, you're just going to be playing this week. So go check out my running back rankings and my wide receiver rankings. I run back like tiers and I like explain everything in depth. It's a pretty long video, but there is timestamps. So go check that out. Helps you out a lot. The Boston Strangler. Appreciate you being a part of this community and being so active here tonight. Falcons Nation said in the flex. Yeah. Tyler Lockett. And Marty's saying CEH. So we're already having disagreements here, but I like it. I mean, it's close. We're just assuming the fact that they're going to be down behind the Broncos, having to throw the ball a ton. Heavy hitter Rob, 100. I think, Rob, you were like subscriber number, what, like 20 something? So to see how far we've come in such a short period of time, you guys, the scissors are not coming out here on stream. I promise Jordan needs to get back on here with me sometime, and we'll do the tank top stream. I will show up tomorrow in a tank top. How about that? How does that sound to everybody? Oh my goodness. You guys mean so much to me. I don't even care that I hit 100 really. I just appreciate having everyone here in the chat talking fantasy football. So, you guys, Rob's trying to get the scissors. I mean, I do, to be fair, I do have scissors. If we hit 110, I'll cut my shirt here live on stream. How about that? Because I didn't agree to the 100, so we got to make some waves. Daryl, appreciate you being here. And a 0.5 14-man keeper, I have Allen, Dillon, Chubb, Sanders, Waddle, Judy, Lockett, Renfro, Andrews, Hawkinson, Rams. What should I do to improve? Oh man, that's such a juicy question. A 14-man keeper league. I mean, the thing is, you have to remember about yourself is like, to be honest, I play in a lot of dynasty leagues. I don't play in a lot of keeper leagues. You really need to improve that running back room for sure. You're just going to have to get younger somehow. So I do like Waddle. Waddle's going to have to be a staple. Allen's going to have to be a staple. And you're going to have to make and Andrews is going to be a staple. So you might have to use like Hodgson and Renfro to flip to try to get a better wide receiver. You might have to use, I don't know. You also need to do another running back. So I'm a little bit worried about your depth. And especially like in keeper leagues, it's not so much about staying young, but also getting the great values. So maybe trying to do a trade along that line. Sorry, Daryl. I hope that helped. Tyler, AJ Brown, Godwin, Pickens, Burke, tight end is Colt. Okay. Oh, Tyler, we're back to your question. Sorry. Glad you commented. Sorry that you had to wait so long. Tyler, should I trade away Kamara for Andrews or Metcalf? We already know your running backs. And then it's AJ Brown, Godwin, Pickens, Burks. Tight end is Kamara. LOL. Bro, keep Kamara. Keep Kamara. All the way. Keep Kamara. All the way. You might look back if something happens to Kamara, barring injury. I guess I should say this. Barring injury, you're not going to regret that. I think the thing is DK Metcalf, even though he is an elite level wide receiver, I don't think he's going to have the elite level. Like I was drafting him in the 5th or 6th round. So to go from trading your like first round talent running back, even though there is this like impending like suspension all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just like the difference between if it's not a tight end premium league, like there's not the value there. And your running backs, if something happens to Saquon, then your host. So I would keep your running backs for sure. That's going to help you in the higher upside towards later in the season and less headaches for you. Hurricane, let's go. Appreciate you being here, my guy. DK Metcalf or Mooney. We are running tomorrow with Mooney. Now I'm just showing you guys my videos instead of like making you go watch them. Let's see. What do I have here? Where did I have DK and so I have DK there, and then who'd you ask about Mooney? Yeah. I'm going DK tomorrow. Yeah, I'm going DK tomorrow. Hope that helps. Elijah Mitchell or Rashard Penny. Is Elijah Mitchell still injured? And we never got a clarification on Ken Walker. If Ken Walker is he playing? That's I'm leaning Mitchell because of the weather. It's supposed to rain tomorrow versus the Bears for San Francisco. So this guy copying Fantasy Flock. What do you mean by copying Fantasy Flock? If you mean that he is a huge mentor, inspiration, I enjoy his content, then to all of those, yes, I am. If you mean that I am copying Fantasy Flock by trying to do lives, and I mean, he inspired me, dude. And the thing is, I was part of Mason's community early on, like when he was only had like 1,000 subs. So I appreciate the comment. Appreciate you being here. Let me know if you have any questions I can help answer. I think that's the other thing. Like Mason's lives, like there's like 900,000 people. It's kind of hard to get a question in without paying. And my hope is you can ask all the questions without paying here. Maybe someday you'll be so kind and generous, but not now. Sean says Dak Prescott or Jameis Winston. Dak Prescott for sure. Answering questions on live stream isn't enough. Listen, we are having the OGs going to battle in the chat, guys. I appreciate you guys standing up for me, but can't guard check, my man. I appreciate you being here, though. I appreciate you being here. Michael Thomas or AJ Green? AJ Green. Oh crap! I said AJ Green off the top. No, it's Michael Thomas. I meant to say Michael Thomas. AJ Green, he's a shell of himself. Even if Michael Thomas is playing half injured, I'm still taking Michael Thomas. The upside's there. I don't think there's any upside for AJ Green. I got Kamara at the turn in the second. Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I didn't ever get a lot of Kamara because it was usually between DeAndre Swift and Kamara for me, and I was taking DeAndre Swift in most of those spots. Oh my gosh, Michael, appreciate all the support, guys. You guys are the best. I wouldn't want to be doing this and talking with anybody else here on a Saturday night at 11:12 EST. Walker's inactive. Oh, we're going with Penny. We're going with Penny. Full on Penny. I mean, he's just going to get the volume. It's not going to be great, but Tyler, appreciate you for subbing. Appreciate you being here. Who you like better for this season, Kadarius Toney or Mecole Hardman? Kadarius Toney, even though you have Mecole Hardman getting one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL throwing in the ball, and you have Kadarius Toney getting a bottom 5 quarterback throwing in the ball. I still think Toney's a lot more talented and will get on the field and be the wide receiver one over jogging Kenny Galladay. Yeah. Hurricane, glad we agree on Toney. You guys are savages here in the live chat. Lucas, out of these 5 wide receivers, which 2 would you start? Amon-Ra St. Brown, Courtland Sutton, Elijah Moore, Michael Thomas, Rashard Bateman. Just subbed. Love your content. Lucas, my guy. I was going to ask you that when you asked the question earlier, but I didn't want to force you to sub. Sometimes I got to provide the value before you actually sub. Oh man, out of these 5, you got 2. Man, first off, you got a loaded wide receiver room. So take that as a congratulations. But the problem when you have a loaded wide receiver room is making these hard choices. So I'm right now off the top, I'm just going to say I'm leaning Courtland Sutton and Elijah Moore. Now, the one player that I am, I think, dude, you really can't make a choice because I'm like debating like Elijah Moore versus Amon-Ra St. Brown and then Courtland Sutton versus Michael Thomas. Like both of those guys, all 4 of those guys, like I would just put those in a hat and pull them out because the difference for me right here, thinking about it, is I'm not going to give you a great answer because I love all those guys. And the problem is you have an assortment of riches. So I think we're just going to have to see like what's Michael Thomas's role going to look like if he's healthy. What's Amon-Ra St. Brown's role going to look like when they have all the other options there for the Detroit Lions? And then Courtland Sutton with the new quarterback. We hope it's going to be good, but we're just projecting at this point. So I'm a little bit nervous, but all those guys, let's just say this. By next week, you're going to have a lot of clarification around those wide receivers. So appreciate the sub, my man. Also appreciate you being here. Thielen or AJ Green? Yeah, Thielen for sure. And Hurricanes totally can agree with me on this one. Appreciate you being here. So those were, I caught up on all the questions, guys. So I think we are going to be, first off, super successful night. Appreciate all you guys being here. We are right now sitting at 104 subs. So 4 subs over the goal. I just appreciate you guys all so much. So Sean, yeah, thanks for the live subbing. Oh, appreciate you, Sean, so much. Like I said, we're going to be going live again tomorrow at noon. So if you guys want to tune in tomorrow at noon, of course, we went live tonight for an hour and 45 minutes. We will not be going live that long because I am tuning in at 1 o'clock to watch NFL Red Zone and watch the start of the game. So we will be going live at noon tomorrow. We'll go from like noon to like 1. And then from there, yeah. So bring all your questions. If you didn't get a question answered tonight, bring all your questions tomorrow. And we'll go back in. Yeah, Lucas. Yeah. I agree with you. It's a really hard decision, but I appreciate everyone for tuning in here tonight. Yeah, and we'll get the show rolling again tomorrow. So have a great night, and I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye, guys.